Picture Europe in the 20th century. There's a unique nation called Yugoslavia. Formed at the end of the First World War, Yugoslavia was a curious blend of identities, a mosaic of ethnicities and religions. It was a country that straddled the line between East and West, a non-aligned nation during the Cold War, navigating its own path between the clashing ideologies of capitalism and communism. The political, economic, and social structure of Yugoslavia was as diverse as its population. Its socialist system was a hybrid, with elements of market economy and self-management. This system, although unique, was riddled with disparities, leading to significant wealth differences among the republics. Beneath the surface, Yugoslavia was a melting pot of cultures and ideologies, each with its own aspirations and grievances. And while it held together for several decades, the nation was ultimately unable to contain the simmering tensions. Yugoslavia was a melting pot of cultures and ideologies, but beneath the surface, tensions simmered. Fast forward to the early 1990s, and Yugoslavia was on the brink of collapse. A seemingly united front was, in reality, a house divided. Ethnic and nationalist divisions had been simmering beneath the surface, waiting for the right spark to set them ablaze. The concept of unity, once a beacon of hope, was steadily eroding. The Yugoslav identity, a collective identity that once held strong, was giving way to individual nationalist aspirations. The Serbs, Croats, Slovenes, Bosniaks, Montenegrins, and Macedonians were now more focused on their distinctive ethnic identities, and less on a shared Yugoslav identity. This shift in focus was a significant contributor to the growing tension within Yugoslavia. The political contradictions within the federation added fuel to the fire. Yugoslavia, despite its socialist orientation, had allowed a certain level of autonomy to its constituent republics. This autonomy led to increasing regional ambitions as leaders within each republic began to vie for more power. The balance between a central authority and regional autonomy had become precariously unsteady. Economic factors also played a crucial role in this impending dissolution. The 1980s were marked by economic instability for Yugoslavia. The federation faced soaring inflation, large-scale unemployment, and substantial foreign debt. The economic crisis exposed and exacerbated the underlying ethnic and regional disparities, adding another layer of complexity to the already strained relationships within the federation. Moreover, the death of Josip Broz Tito, the charismatic leader who had held Yugoslavia together, left a power vacuum. Tito's death removed the glue that had kept the federation intact, and without a strong successor to fill his shoes, the unity of Yugoslavia began to crumble. In essence, the breakup of Yugoslavia was a result of a toxic blend of ethnic divisions, political contradictions, economic instability, and the rise of regional ambitions. As the 1990s dawned, the stage was set for a tragic breakup. The breakup of Yugoslavia was not a single event, but a series of conflicts. This narrative of division began in the early 90s, with the first ripple of discord felt in Slovenia. Slovenia's independence was declared in June 1991, triggering a 10-day war, a short-lived but impactful conflict that ended with Slovenia's successful secession. Then, the flames of discord spread to Croatia. The Croatian War of Independence, also known as the Homeland War, was a brutal period that spanned from 1991 to 1995. This conflict saw the infamous siege of Vukovar and the tragedy of Operation Storm, events that would forever leave their mark on the nation. However, the pain did not end there. The war then reached the heart of the Balkans, Bosnia and Herzegovina. The Bosnian War, lasting from 1992 to 1995, was marked by the siege of Sarajevo, the longest siege of a capital city in modern history, and the Srebrenica massacre, one of the darkest chapters in European history since World War II. Finally, the conflict's tremors were felt in Kosovo. The Kosovo War, from 1998 to 1999, was characterized by widespread ethnic cleansing and brutal guerrilla warfare. This conflict was the final nail in the coffin for Yugoslavia, as its dissolution became inevitable. Throughout this tumultuous decade, the map of the Balkans was redrawn in blood and fire. The borders shifted, alliances were made and broken, and the face of a region was forever changed. This was not a simple sequence of events. It was a tragic, complex, and intertwined narrative of wars, marked by immense human suffering and loss. These conflicts, which began with dreams of independence and sovereignty, ended up shattering the unity of a federation, leaving behind a patchwork of independent states, each carrying the scars of a painful past. This tumultuous chronology of conflict was the death knell for Yugoslavia, a nation that once stood as a beacon of unity in a diverse region. By the end of the 1990s, Yugoslavia was no more. Each of its former republics now stood on their own, grappling with the aftermath of a decade of war and the daunting task of building new nations from the ashes of the old. In the chaos of war, certain figures rose to prominence. Among them were leaders who would play pivotal roles in the disintegration of Yugoslavia and the ensuing conflict. Let's start with Slobodan Milosevic. Emerging as a key player in the late 80s, Milosevic became the president of Serbia and later of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. His nationalistic rhetoric and aggressive policies played a significant part in stoking ethnic tensions. He was later accused of war crimes, including genocide, but died in detention before a verdict was reached. Then we have Franjo Tudjman, the first president of Croatia. Tudjman was a fervent nationalist who believed in the creation of an independent Croatia. His policies and actions, while seen by some as a fight for sovereignty, were also criticized for exacerbating ethnic divisions and contributing to the bloodshed. Paramilitary groups, fueled by nationalistic fervor, also played a crucial role in the conflict. These groups, often operating outside of official military structures, were responsible for some of the most horrific acts of violence during the war, including mass killings and ethnic cleansing. But this was not just a regional conflict. International forces and organizations had a hand in the unfolding drama. The UN, NATO, and the European Community, later the European Union, all sought to intervene, with varying degrees of success. Their efforts, while aimed at peacekeeping and conflict resolution, were often met with criticism and controversy. The role of the international community was complex. On one hand, they sought to prevent further violence and human rights abuses. On the other, their interventions sometimes resulted in unintended consequences, escalating tensions and prolonging the conflict. These individuals and groups shaped the course of the conflict, often with devastating consequences. Their actions, decisions, and the ideologies they espoused not only led to the breakup of Yugoslavia, but also ignited a brutal and protracted war that left a lasting imprint on the region. The breakup of Yugoslavia was not just a political event, but a human tragedy. The disintegration of a once unified nation into a cauldron of ethnic tension and violence resulted in a human cost that is almost unimaginable. The exact number of lives lost in the conflict is difficult to pin down, but estimates range from 100,000 to 200,000. Each one of these individuals was a son or a daughter, a mother or a father, a friend or a neighbor. Each one had dreams, aspirations, hopes and fears, all of which were cut short by the brutality of conflict. But the human cost of the Yugoslavian breakup wasn't just about the lives lost. The conflict also led to the displacement of millions of people, creating a refugee crisis that the region had not seen since the Second World War. Families were torn apart, homes were destroyed, and entire communities were uprooted and forced to start anew in foreign lands. The war also saw the devastating practice of ethnic cleansing, a term that belies the true horror of what it entails. It's estimated that tens of thousands were victims of this abhorrent practice, their lives taken simply because of their ethnic or religious background. The conflict didn't just change the political map of Europe, it also drastically altered the region's demographics. The displacement and death toll from the war led to a significant reduction in the population of the Balkans. This, combined with the economic devastation wrought by the conflict, has had long-term effects on the region's economy and society. And then there's the psychological toll. The trauma of war, of losing loved ones, of being forced to flee your home, is something that doesn't just go away when the conflict ends. The mental scars left by the war continue to impact the people of the Balkans, and it's a burden that they carry with them every day. The scars of the conflict are still visible today. The human cost of the Yugoslavian breakup is a reminder of the devastating consequences of ethnic tension and political instability. It serves as a stark warning of what can happen when we forget our shared humanity. Looking back, the breakup of Yugoslavia offers valuable lessons. We've journeyed through a tumultuous history, from a united socialist republic to a fragmented region engulfed in conflict. We've seen how ethnic tensions, political ambitions, and economic instability can lead to devastating consequences. The wars in Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Kosovo were the result of a complex interplay of these factors, exacerbated by the actions of leaders and groups whose decisions continue to reverberate today. The human cost was immense, with casualties and destruction that left deep scars on the region and the world. Understanding this history is crucial in our ongoing efforts to prevent similar conflicts. It reminds us of the importance of fostering unity amidst diversity, of promoting dialogue over violence, and of ensuring economic and social stability for all. History is our greatest teacher, and the story of Yugoslavia is a lesson we cannot afford to forget.
That's a wrap for today, folks. If you enjoyed, tap that like button. Don't miss out on the fun. Subscribe to stay tuned. The excitement is just beginning.